What's going on, everyone? Welcome on into Coffee with Brodes. What's up? What's up? What's going on? How are you today? We just got some news, huh? Joel Embiid. How about that? With Joel Embiid, we now have ourselves a situation of the big man being paid. I love it. It's what you do. I don't want to hear any complaints. I don't want to hear that, he's injured and he's banged up always and he's not available for you. No, no, no. 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 You lock up your best player, you pay the big man, and you work around it. It's a gamble that you take when you have a superstar MVP type talent like Joel Embiid is. It's a no-brainer. There's no thoughts. There's no second guessing. If it ends up backfiring because of injury, so be it. It's so damn hard to get a lethal weapon the way that Joel Embiid is a lethal weapon. We're not playing games. We're not messing around. It's that simple. It's that easy. It's that easy of a decision. So I don't even want to hear it. Don't even want to hear it. With that, hey, fellas, let's enjoy this cup of coffee, huh? Let's enjoy this cup of coffee. Once again, I'm going with the Timmy Hortons black coffee. It is just coming right out of the pot. So I'm telling you, this thing is steaming. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to talking some sports with you as we enjoy this Tuesday morning. Good morning, Rugby. Hector, Nolan, JD Hammer, Colin, Jim, Mike, Arm Zebra, Jose. What's going on, everyone? William, Tide, 2K. What's going on? Thank you guys so much for hopping in the stream this morning and kicking back. It's just that simple. What's up, Fran? What's going on, man? Cheers to Joel Embiid and Nick Sirianni. Is that how we're starting this bad boy off today? Is that how we're kicking things off today here on Coffee with Brodes? A little coffee toast to Joel Embiid and Nick Sirianni. What type of world are we living in? Here we go. Oh, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Now, Fran, this is kind of funny to me because you're normally Mr. Positivity, right? You're normally Mr. They're doing well. Let's have some hope. Let's have some excitement. Are you poking fun at what they did yesterday in that joint practice? Are you saying that there's individuals overreacting to what we saw in that joint practice in South Philadelphia yesterday? Because I always say this. While I'm not putting a lot of stock into what happened, and I'm not telling you that they are going to be a legitimate team because of beating the Patriots in a practice, I say that the alternative is they blow. The alternative is they suck in a practice. The alternative is it looks messy, it looks sloppy. I'd rather it look structured and detailed and mention how this means nothing because it's just practice compared to this is awful. They are not on the same page. They're not clicking. The offensive line has too many penalties. There's too many pre-snap movements, right? I mean, the alternative is a little awful to think about. I'm poking fun at myself so I don't go all in too soon. I can live with that. Okay, I can live with that. Just tampering the expectations or tampering the excitement knowing that it's just a joint practice. That's fair. That's fair. I'd just rather it look good and look like the team is making the right plays and they're beating their opponent and plays are being won compared to, it looking messy. I have to admit, I'm pleasantly surprised with only assessing a couple weeks of training camp. I'm pleasantly surprised with the demeanor of the head coach, with the style of the head coach, with the coaching from the head coach. How about that? That's my number one takeaway so far is the way that this coaching staff is actually coaching the players. Can you even remember a time where Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz were working on fundamentals and mechanics, and they were breaking down the simplicity of the art, and they were working from the ground up, if you will, to make sure the ball doesn't sail over the wide receiver's head? You know what I mean? Like basic fundamentals in throwing a football. I could not tell you Doug Peterson working with the group of individuals or working with the group. And look, every coach does it differently, right? I mean, there's scenarios all the time throughout the league where the head coach kicks back and he's more of the general, more of the overall leader, while they allow their quarterbacks coach to be the guy that gets in there and starts working on players. And they allow their wide receivers coaches to be the ones that are kind of implementing what they want to do. And that's why you have your position coaches. So there's many ways to do it. I'm not saying there's only one way to do it. I'm saying I do enjoy, though, watching Nick Sirianni coach up his players because I have not seen that in quite some time. As I'm getting a bunch of notifications. Embiid agrees to the Supermax extension. Joel Embiid and the Sixers have agreed to a Supermax extension. Well, why is that? That's the information it's telling me after the headline. You told me no new information. Pretty funny. If Hurts works on his arm, he has the potential to be Russell Wilson. Well, I mean, to me, though, like working on his arm, what does that mean? Because sometimes players have a cap on what they can do. He's got to work on his accuracy for sure. And there has been some beat reporters claiming that it's overrated and overstated, I guess, how much his arm strength needs to get better. His arm strength is fine. It's more about the accuracy and the little things with throwing the football. Well, we will tell. We will tell when the season begins where there's actually a line rushing against him. And it's no longer just helmets and shorts. And we're talking more legitimate action where there's pressure, where there's defensive ends coming your way. When you're going up against Chase Young and you see some talent on the other side and it's the Washington football team beating up on your offensive line for a couple series in a row. We'll see how easy it is to set your feet and let it rip, right? I mean, there's so much different things that occur throughout a real game compared to practice that will change your mechanics, your footwork, the ability to even set your feet to throw the football. So there's too much involved for that, for me to say, like, if he works on his arm. There's a lot to that, right? There's a lot to that. Celtics extend Marcus Smart. That's a good move. Yeah, I mean, there was always drama tied to him and the Celtics. I was a little, I guess, surprised, although I haven't kept up with the Marcus Smart drama in a little bit of time. So I'm not going to act as if that's something that I research every night before I go to bed as I lay there and watch TikToks for 5 hours a night. So there's definitely, me probably removing myself from the situation over the last year or so. But yeah, I'm actually a little surprised they signed Marcus Smart, but at the same time, I'm not, but I am, just because I thought that there was a bit of a relationship fracture there. I guess not. William, this is one of my biggest fears of this season. Miles Sanders and his inability to catch a football. Seriously, that's going to cause a lot of problems for Nick Sirianni, a young head coach who's going to want to rely on a running back catching a football. You're going to want to use the speed and the threat of Miles Sanders, but you're going to limit your head coach because of your flaws. Now, I know he's working on it. I see him in practice, and he's absolutely trying everything he possibly could to get better at catching the football. At some point, I think it's just part of a Miles Sanders experience where he will never learn how to a level that will make us feel comfortable. It's always going to be in his bag. If you look at his bag, in his bag will be dropped passes. But I'm now looking at it from an angle of, okay, Nick Sirianni is in a spot where he feels most comfortable maybe utilizing a pass out of the backfield. And you can utilize a running back, maybe whether it's a screen, whether it's a wheel route, and you lose power when it's not Miles Sanders as the guy being called on, because he should be a 3-down back. He should be a threat and a weapon that the other squad is now nervous about, that he's going to get the rock because he has the home run power, because he has the electricity to give you 50, 60, 70 yards and take it to the house and beat down one of your defenders. We've seen it before. If you stay steady with him, he will absolutely splash. So I'm real nervous for Miles Sanders. I really, really am. I don't understand how players make it to the NFL when they can't catch a football. Well, I mean, Miles Sanders is a running back, and I understand in today's era of football, if you're a running back, you need to know how to catch. But, I mean, are you trying to say that you can't understand why Miles Sanders is in the NFL? Because I think it's pretty clear why a player like Miles Sanders is in the NFL, right? He plays well in the pocket and moves well with great vision. With the healthy line, I feel we can at least be second in the NFC East. I'm not even worried about division play. Everyone talks about, well, they can win the division, or everyone mentions they're not going to be as bad as what you thought. This and that. That's so irrelevant to me. For once, this season is not about that at all. This season is not about winning the division. It's not about beating the Dallas Cowboys and winning the division. Like, that's not what it's about. It's about seeing what you have and setting yourself up for proper decisions made at the end of this season, where then we can have expectations. Next season, we can talk about where they fall in the division, where it lines up, and hell, 8, 9, 10 weeks into the season, I'm more willing to have that conversation. Right now, while we're in the middle of August, the last thing on my brain is, can they win the division? Winning the division, that's all irrelevant to me. I need to find out who the head coach is. I need to find out what he likes to run. I need to find out about the quarterback. I need to see what Devontae Smith is all about. I need to see if Quez Watkins is actually a threat, or is this more of just a little bit of a burst of excitement because we saw Travis Fulgham have 4 games of greatness and fall into nothing. So I'm not going to overreact to Quez Watkins having a couple good weeks of training camp, because if someone could do it for 4 weeks of NFL action and become a nobody, then I'm telling you, it can be the same damn thing in a practiced form. Now, the difference is the speed. The speed of Quez Watkins is magic. It's unbelievable, and you can't teach that. So there's going to be a way to implement him in an offense. Travis Fulgham, he lacks that speed. That's probably what's keeping him off of the field with the offense. Not saying he's not going to play. I'm just saying, if you think about the two, one of the reasons why, if Travis Fulgham had speed, he'd be out there, is my point. But yeah, I'm out on where they fall in this division. That's not something that I'm even focused on right now. We're not used to that. Why? Because Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie consistently have this organization in a spot where you do care, where it is the number one topic, because they do have an actual chance, because their roster is strong. Right now, we knew. They emphasize it. It's a bit of a reshape, and it is. You can lie to yourself and say it's not, but there's a reshaping involved. You have a lot of young players. I mentioned this yesterday on my podcast, right? Who is involved with the Eagles for quite some time? Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, those type of players, right? You think about the Philadelphia Eagles, Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey. They come to your mind. Well, now you're starting to groom those future players. If you think about Jordan Mailata, you want him to be the next Lane Johnson, or I guess I should say Jason Peters, Trey Thomas on your left side of the line. They want Devontae Smith to be talked about the same way we talk about Fletcher Cox. You want some of these younger players, Miles Sanders, be talked about the same way we talk about Brian Westbrook. You're now starting to groom those players into those pieces. Oh, yeah, Jim. Good point here. Just to throw a little Phillies in there. I know we're talking a little bit of Birds, and we like to bounce a little bit around here on Coffee with Brodes in the chat, but so relieved that we dodged the Hamels nightmare. Not that it's not that much of a nightmare. He didn't sign him for that long, or that much, I should say. So it doesn't really damage you to that level. But if that was your move, like if you added Kyle Gibson, Ian Kennedy, Freddie Galvis, and added Cole Hamels, it doesn't help you. If you went after Cole Hamels and didn't acquire Kyle Gibson, then yes, I would label that a nightmare. I didn't think that would ever be in the cards. It wouldn't have been just the Cole Hamels. Cole Hamels would have been a shot in the dark at the end of the trade deadline after they already made some moves. But yeah, I mean, that's disappointing for him. Last night, I will say, let me take a sip of this first. Last night, I watched the MLB documentary of the 2008 Phillies. I actually still have an hour to go. I went a half hour, and I hate doing that. I actually despise doing that, and it makes me sick. It makes me pissed off and disgusted that I actually did that. But I'll end up watching it later on tonight for sure. But, man, oh, my God, I almost knocked over my entire coffee on my lap. That would have been horrible. Oh, my God, my heart is pumping. My heart is racing, and it's not because of that documentary last night. Although there were moments where I teared up and got the chills watching Brad Lidge come in. Oh, man. Watching Brett Myers put together an amazing at-bat. Oh, man. Watching Shane Victorino against the Dodgers. Oh, man, was there some juiciness to it. But getting to Cole Hamels and his part, just hearing the broadcast throughout, he's going 7 innings tonight. He allowed 1 earned run. It's like, wow, as he walks back to the dugout and he just has a bunch of confidence, and Citizens Bank Park is flying, giving him the standing ovation. I haven't seen this in quite some time. It's been a long time, so I really don't remember the documentary off my head. I believe this was one that was on MLB Network. I think it's an MLB Network special, but I'll tell you what, amazing. Amazing. Who could be an X factor? Who could be an X factor? Gainwell? Yeah, I mean, I know they like some of the things that he saw, for sure. Yeah, he'll be a back end of the running back room rotation if he makes it. There's Kerryon Johnson, there's Jordan Howard, there's Gainwell, there's Boston Scott. I mean, there's a lot of individuals in there really fighting for the opportunity, and they really want to show Nick Sirianni that they can play. So there's a lot of different guys in there who bring different things to the table and who have some veteran experience in this league. That's going to be a tough decision based off of what each player does. Now, they thought about Gainwell enough to draft him, which maybe that gives him an advantage compared to some of the other players because, well, we just drafted this kid and we have, a Kerryon Johnson who might not be where he once was, and we have Jordan Howard who definitely isn't where he once was, but he brings toughness, he brings thickness. You saw that he can get a block and give him a good how do you do with the monster block with the blitz pickup to give Jalen Hurts some time and space to make a throw. So there's a lot involved there for sure. Sean just loves to see Joel Embiid winning. You're damn right he's winning. He's winning with a lot of cash, and he's proven it as well with his play. He's an MVP caliber player. I know during the whole end of the season when Ben Simmons wasn't shooting, there were some Ben Simmons fans that thought, well, the reason Ben Simmons isn't working here is because Joel Embiid is a center, and that's limiting the point guard of Ben Simmons. And because Joel Embiid is always injury prone and always has injuries, maybe they should trade Joel Embiid. And I give them the dumbest look in the world, as if you have to reconsider everything that's ever went through your brain. How in any universe does your brain tell you after watching Ben Simmons play the best idea for this franchise is to trade Joel Embiid? Please tell me how sick you are in the head, because that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You pay your big man. 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 This is what you do. This is why I don't even get mad at, because here's another statement that's always said. This organization's so stupid. Why would they pay Ben Simmons and give him that contract when they paid Ben Simmons? I'll tell you why, because this is how the NBA works. Now, hindsight, we know that Ben Simmons failed miserably and he never grew to the player that we needed him to grow into. That doesn't mean at the time of the contract, you don't give him that contract. You give him that contract expecting him to be like 99% of NBA players and get better at their craft. That's a gamble you take. When you have a certain player and when you have certain players on your team, you pay them the big cash. That is what you do. You always take the gamble because it's hard. It's not easy. Think about what you go through to get a Joel Embiid. And not everybody goes through the same path to get their superstar, to get their number one player. But it's so damn hard to get that style of player that dominates an NBA game the way the elite of the elite of the elite dominate the game. So you take the money. Sorry, Brodes, but Simmons is coming back. No, he's not. No, he's not. I'm telling you, no, he's not. Ben Simmons is not on the 76ers. He's not on the 76ers. It's broken. It's broken. They're not even communicating, and they're going through their agency, and Rich Paul is in the mix. This is how it works. This is what happens. They are not kind of one another right now, kind to one another. They dislike each other. Ben Simmons ain't coming back. Ben Simmons ain't coming back. From the start of the NBA Summer League when they were speaking in Chicago, or was that? No, that wasn't the Summer League. That was the pre-draft stuff, I believe. Come on. Once you see that Rich Paul's in that meeting, instantly, you know what's going on. You know where it is. Before Embiid, we didn't have a superstar since AI. Iguodala don't count. No, Iguodala wasn't a superstar. Come on now. That's the problem, though. He got paid a good chunk of change, and people associated that with the level of superstars, which is just absurd. Oh, Iguodala and superstar. That's a funny combination, huh? That's a funny combination. Nope, this is not what I'm saying here. So, it was not false. The 76ers and Ben Simmons are communicating through his agent. Ben Simmons specifically was talking to Joel Embiid. Two different scenarios. There was a report saying that Ben wouldn't answer Joel. That was not true. The report saying that Rich Paul is running the communications between Ben Simmons and the team, that was true. And that is what really matters, because that is how you demand trades and get out of town. So that is the reality of the situation for sure. Come on, Daniel. You don't really believe in Ben. You don't really mean that. That's not what you mean. No. Don't be so naive. Don't be so naive. Because if your response is that's what an agent is used for, think about what you're saying. Your agent is used for you to just shut off all your communications with the team after having one of the worst performances in NBA history and becoming a mock of basketball and becoming a mock nationally, where you're getting destroyed by jokes with comedians in front of a large studio audience. Come on now. No, that's not. Do you watch the NBA? Do you watch the How did James Harden demand a trade? Did he request a formal trade and go in there and say, hey, I don't like where I'm at. I would love to have another opportunity elsewhere. Hell no. Get me the fuck out of here. Shit my ass out of town, asshole. That's how it went. That's how it went. Don't be so naive. This is Ben Simmons, who wants the hell out of the Philadelphia 76ers organization. But going back to Daniel, there's no way that you actually believe that Ben Simmons will be able to be okay. Unbelievable. Oh, man. Come on. Why are we doing this? An agent is used for communication. It's not hard to see what's going on. You guys are like making it too simple and simplifying it. Like, by the letter of the law, the agent is utilized for communication. Yes, thank you. Now use context. Now think about who Ben Simmons is. Now think about what Ben Simmons just went through. Now think about Rich Paul and Clutch Sports. Now think about where Daryl Morey is trying to trade Ben Simmons. I mean, it's really not rocket science. You guys are simplifying it way too much. Okay. That's enough of that conversation. It doesn't need to go on much longer there, because there's really not much to it other than Ben Simmons doesn't want to be here. They are going to trade him. Rich Paul is trying to get him out of town and bring him to a spot where it's not the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like, that's his job too now, is we're getting him where he wants to go. Oh, Anthony Davis, you want to go to the Lakers? Where does Anthony Davis end up going? There's a whole game involved here where Rich Paul is going to get Ben Simmons to an area where it's going to be the best suited spot for Ben Simmons on the floor and off the floor. It's all part of it for sure. Now, I got a stat here from Paul Humbo. Paul Humbo, most points per 36 minutes all time. Joel Embiid is at 29.3, which is first. Michael Jordan is 28.3. So Joel Embiid has most points per 36 minutes of all time. How about that? Do you think Ben Simmons being hated by the fan base is the main reason he wants out? No, I think it's because he stinks at basketball. That's why, and he's unaware of that. That's what it is. He's unaware of that. He he's bad at basketball. He doesn't shoot a basketball in fourth quarters of NBA playoff games as $30 million man. So, and he doesn't realize that. That's what it is. It's crazy. It's crazy. I know that doesn't make sense. That's just me telling you that he's clearly unaware of the situation. He's unaware. He doesn't realize the detriment that he put on this franchise and this team. And that's unfortunate. We're not wrong, though, so I don't care. That's the difference. If it was an overreaction to a player that isn't as bad as what the fans said, then I'd be more interested in this dialogue, right? Let's say there's a player who's really good, but the fans just don't like him for some reason, and they boo him out of town when he's not that much of a problem. He might have flaws, but his positives outweigh the negatives, and he still brings a ton of value to the team and to the franchise. Then it's, what are you doing? You're getting rid of someone just because you don't personally like them. That's a problem. Here, there's 99% of basketball reasons out of 100% of reasons why he should be gone. 99.9% of them are legitimate basketball reasons and flaws in his games that are limiting him and limiting this team to winning a championship. So these are basketball reasons why. Yeah, I think that there's legitimacy to this, though, Jonathan. I mean, that's not that outrageous. There is a thing called trajectory with Ben Simmons, and there's still that untapped potential that others are willing to take an opportunity on, a swing and a miss on, and they will miss because there's no such thing as getting contact here in this, not metaphor, I guess, in this, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Analogy. That's the word I'm looking for. The analogy, both could be true for sure. Yeah, that's not that crazy at all. That's normally how trades do go down. I mean, when you say Ben sucks, it's in the context of he's not living up to his expectations, but there's still a lot that he brings to the table. Even though we can mock it all we want because it doesn't outweigh the negatives, there's still a side of this where he's Defensive Player of the Year, where he passes the basketball beautifully and he facilitates and he dribbles at 6'10" full speed. The problem is full speed isn't how you win NBA championships because it's fourth quarter and it's half-court sets and it's creating your own shots as a point guard, and he can't do that. But there is other angles to his game that teams love, that NBA coaches love, that coaches and GMs are going to want to take a chance on. And so when you say he sucks, yes, he sucks in the realm of you had him labeled as the Prince, which was LeBron James 2.0, and deservingly so, because he is a jump shot away from actually being that. It wasn't outrageous to think that at 19, 20 years old, by 25, 26, he would have that added to his repertoire, because a lot of basketball players do that. Lonzo Ball, Julius Randle. Now think about what the additions could bring to Ben Simmons' game. It's very possible to be both. Teams will want Ben. People saying he has zero value is false. Yes, teams will want Ben. They will take an opportunity on Ben. There's a lot of different ways to look at this. There's markets that can't land free agents. Well, if you can land Ben Simmons with contract tied to his name, with the contract tied to his name, now that's where Rich Paul comes in. Because some of these smaller markets, I'm sure, I don't want to go there. Okay, well, we'll make sure that they know you'll be unhappy if you go there, which might limit them from wanting to offer certain pieces, and it might take them out of the running if they know, hey, Ben won't play. Ben will be unhappy here. Trust me, you do not want to trade for Ben Simmons. That all kind of stuff happens behind the scenes as well. But, yeah, I mean, look, there's plenty of teams that would be willing to lose in the first, second round with Ben Simmons on their roster because they haven't been in the playoffs for so long, and it's the step in the right direction for them. Just hearing Ben Simmons doesn't work. Saying Ben sucks is the anger of enduring his play in the playoffs. In reality, he doesn't. Just disappointing. Well, I mean, he sucks in the playoffs. He sucks in the playoffs in big moments. That's a fact. He does suck in the playoffs in big moments. And quite frankly, that's the most important time, especially here. But like I said, that might not be the most important time for a team that doesn't have a Joel Embiid and that's not ready to win a championship right now, but they're ready to turn their franchise around, get fans in the building, make the playoffs, sell jerseys, sell tickets. I mean, there's a lot of franchises that don't look at it as our goal right now is to win an NBA championship. It could be our goal right now is to get excitement with this fan base again, to land a player like Ben Simmons. It'll bring in the Australian fans. It'll bring in the jersey sales. It'll bring in the ticket sales. I mean, hell, that's the reason why they did the process. The process wasn't about winning a championship. It was about getting people to care again, and it was a marketing strategy. And guess what? They knocked it out of the damn park. Hey, Brodes, I've been a fan of you since Toronto and Kawhi. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And before, I've always wondered why you do all Philly sports but the Union. Any reason you don't follow soccer? Just not for me. I tried watching the Union. I tried to get into it when there was no sports except for a few coming back. And I dabble with the English Premier League. I will admit that it's died off a bit. I used to love Saturday mornings more, where I would wake up, I'd have my coffee, I'd watch the English Premier League. I followed Everton a bit because they were my squad, and I still kind of keep my eye on them from a distance. I tried, and I don't want this to sound rude, but the level of play really makes it unwatchable to me. And once again, I'm trying not to be rude, but if I watch the English Premier League and then I watch the MLS, it feels like I'm watching Division III soccer. So I just can't get into it because of the play, the play. And that's just reality. I'm going to be honest. I'll keep it 100. I think the skill level rubs me the wrong way with soccer. I'm at the point with soccer where it needs to be the best. In other sports, I could get, like, for example, college football, lower end D1 college football. I could watch that no matter what. And that's not the NFL, so the talent level isn't hurting me there. I could watch college hockey, whether it's D1, whether it's D3, whether it's the East Coast Hockey League or the AHL. I could watch hockey juniors. If it's the OHL, the Q, whatever. I could watch any style of hockey, no matter what the league is, no matter what the level is. With soccer, I just can't. I cannot get into the level of soccer. It does not feel like professional soccer. It feels like I'm watching like almost like independent league basketball or baseball, excuse me. And I feel awful saying that. It's almost like a slap in the face for some of these MLS guys, because I know that the MLS is trending in the right direction. They're growing, and it takes time. You don't snap your fingers and have soccer in the United States. Excuse me. That's going to compare with some of these other leagues, but have I been watching Summer League? Yeah, I've been keeping my eye on it. You know, the Tyrese Maxey news and the Isaiah Joe news obviously is disappointing, right? I mean, you wanted to see Maxey go out there and ball, but you knew, right? That's why when you see him go off for 31, come on, he doesn't need to be out there. They know that. The franchise knows that. He doesn't need to be out there. You're watching an NBA player play against guys that won't be playing in the NBA. And I know some of these teams had second-year guys and some other players out there that have had some NBA action before and has logged in some minutes, but it's different, right? I mean, Tyrese Maxey being out there, you could tell he's 5 steps ahead of majority of those players, which is cool. It's cool to see him get into his bag and add to his repertoire. And it's not that he's adding to his repertoire. He's always had these skills, but there's a difference between doing it against a serious NBA player out by the perimeter and having some bum who won't make the team doing it as well. What happened to Maxey? He had a basketball camp in his hometown that he was helping with or running, and the Sixers basically said, you can go do that. So I think that's them admitting, you don't need to be here, Tyrese. You don't need to be here at all. Evan, what's up, man? Evan says, good morning, Brodes. How's it going? It's going well. It's going well. Started this Tuesday morning nice, if you will. What's your record prediction for this West Coast trip? Okay. Let's look at the Phils. They got, is it a 3-4 gamer, or is it a 3-3? I think it's a 3-3, right? 3 against the Padres, 3 against the Diamondbacks. Yes. My prediction is the Padres are kind of in a weird spot right now, right? They're not playing their best brand of baseball, but Fernando Tatis Jr. just returned. So having him come back is definitely bad. They're 5-5 in their last 10. But then they lost the series to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Previously, though, they beat the Marlins in a 3-game set. It's not as bad as it looks when you look at their schedule results. But, yeah, I mean, they're not playing the best the best I've seen the Padres play. Maybe because it's deflating. Like, I wonder how much when you're 67 and 54, but you're 11 games back from your division lead and you're in third place, not second place, you're in third place. How deflating is that as a team? I know you want to keep your motor going because, look, we got to make it in the playoffs, and we will make it in the playoffs as long as we continue to win some baseball games. But that's got to be somewhat a spit in your face, right? I mean, come on now. You're 67 and 54. That puts you in another division, basically at the top of some of these divisions. And I go through this all the time, but if you're in another division, you're not playing the Dodgers and Giants so much, so you probably have more than 67 wins, probably in that 72 range, which really jumps up your numbers and puts you in a different spot. But anyway, I digress. They're in the NL West. They have to battle with those teams, and there's no changing that. 4-2. 4-2. I think 4-2 is what you need to see. Just like I saw at home against the Dodgers and the Reds, 2-4. It's not lovely. It's not what you want to see, but it's objectively looking at the scenario, and you should be able to handle that. Here, I want to see 4-2 as the floor. As the floor. Going 500, I'd be disappointed in that. I'm not going to demand an Arizona Diamondback sweep. It would be nice, and it puts you in a good spot. I mean, that would be lovely if you can do that, right? I mean, if you could beat the Arizona Diamondbacks for 3 straight. I know that on paper they stink so much that should be inevitable, but that's not how this game works. You have to win the series. 2 of 3 is what I demand against the Diamondbacks. Taking 3 of 3 is the added bonus. And yes, when you're in this race, doing that is the difference, right? Winning that extra third game is the difference. That's the test, though. What type of team is this Phillies team? The team that won 8 straight would win these 3 in a row. And they knocked them right off. Bang, bang, bang. And they played great baseball. Their offense would click. They'd be soothing to watch. That's what would happen. So let's see what version of the baseball team we have. 2 of 3 would still be okay. It starts, though, with game 1, Kyle Gibson. You have Gibson, Suarez, and Wheeler. So you do have 3 dudes on the bump that in theory should be able to get this one for you. You got I can't believe I'm about to say this, and it's by default, really, but you have your best 3 guys on the bump. Go win it. Go win it. 4-2. Sean, I can't worry too much about the offseason right now. There's a lot that Dave Dombrowski has to look at. Sean wants to know, do I think do the Phillies make a splash this offseason in free agency? Well, Andrew McCutchen comes off the books, and there's some things that you have to decide on and whatnot. So, look, there's a lot there. I'm waiting for the offseason for those type of questions, for that type of dialogue. You gotta see what you do in certain areas, right? You got to see. I think it matters what happens this backstretch. I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered as well. I'm looking up just to put it in perspective here, because we know Andrew McCutchen's coming off the books. Where is Odubel? Odubel still has 2 years left on that deal. I'm just looking at some contracts. Let's look at the Phillies contracts situation in general. But yeah. Free agents. Let's see if can I label it by free agents? Odubel Herrera. It says free agent 2020, but here it says his contract goes to 2022 and 2023 before he's a UFA. 2022 is a club option, includes a $2.5 million buyout. Okay, there's that. So there is a club option in 2022 for Odubel Herrera. That's probably a decision Dave Dombrowski is going to make. So I'm just thinking about some of the moves in a broad sense here on some of the decisions and some of the positions that are going to be in the mix. Yes, you are correct with that. Oh, hold on. There was a donation I did not get to before. Now that a new one just came in. So I apologize. Here's a $5 donation coming from Andre. Why didn't Embiid need surgery? Was the injury exaggerated? I don't know the information on that. You know, you saw him playing tennis with Daryl Morey the other day, and there were lots of people asking that question. What's going on? Do we not know? I don't think it was because it was exaggerated. It's just maybe it just didn't need surgery. He was dropping 40 with it there. So, right, I mean, we have to talk about what we witnessed when he was out there on the court. I mean, he was doing sensational things with this meniscus tear. I don't know if it was to the level of he was exaggerating it and it wasn't bad. I don't think that's the case, but there's a reason why he was playing on it. It's probably was a situation where it was clearly allowed for him to play on it, so it couldn't have been exaggerated. You get my point? It's like, it's not like he's like, oh, this guy's literally with one leg today, and he's out there hobbing on one leg the whole time. He was planting his feet. He was making spin moves. He was doing spinoramas. He was making fadeaway jumpers. So just based off of his play, I don't believe it was exaggerated. There was some truth to what was going on in there. But, there's a correlation between how he played, not getting surgery, to where it's at. That's all. That's all. But I don't know why he didn't get it. I mean, clearly they informed him, or he made the decision himself after getting information that there's a way to handle this without it. So we'll see. Whether that's the right decision or wrong decision, I don't have the answer for that. I'm just looking at the way the Sixers looked at it. $5 coming in from Giroux. I know you've probably already been asked multiple times, but how well do you think Jalen Hurts will do this season? I honestly, I don't know, which is why this season becomes more intriguing. Nobody really knows what to expect from Jalen Hurts, but from a broad approach here, he's going to make some good throws that'll wow you. He'll probably make some nice explosive plays with his running, and then he'll make a bunch of mistakes as well because he's a rookie. So I see a mediocre season for this Eagles team record-wise. If they have a mediocre season and everything's trending in the right direction, I would say that that's probably a successful season, because it's all about how you set yourself up as a franchise at the end of this year, entering next year's draft, and having some of those questions answered. I think he'll be okay. He'll give you moments where he'll be fantastic, and he'll be a gamer, and you'll love the intensity that he brings to the table. He'll probably leave some plays out there where there's a 40-yard play. Instead of making the pass, he runs for 10 yards and something bad happens, or throw a bad interception over the middle. I mean, there's going to be bad plays. There's going to be good plays. He's a young rookie quarterback who's clearly a project that you're going to have to work through a lot of progressions with him. But ultimately, because of his attitude and the way that he approaches the game, and the mental the mental approach, and the way that he's mentally prepared for situations, I guess I think he'll be ready for some of these moments. But what I like about it is I'll never be able to question the dedication to the craft, the will, the want-to. And trust me, there's a cap on how great I feel about that, right? I'm not going to be satisfied with someone who wins no football games, but he's got great determination. No. I don't sense that with Jalen Hurts, though. I don't sense that part of it with Jalen Hurts. It'll be better. Tebow was released. Yeah, I know that was the meme or the GIF for the play that was getting ran around the Twitter world of that block attempt, which is just hysterical. Yeah, it looks like we do have some breaking news. The breaking news everybody was looking for. Joel Embiid. Sorry, I just read a John Clark tweet. Tim Tebow released by the Jaguars. That's so funny. Thank you, Adam Schefter, for breaking my news at 9. That was 9:35. How will we ever get through Coffee with Brodes without that hard-hitting journalism? I'm not making fun of Adam Schefter. He does a great job. I'm laughing at the fact that Tim Tebow being released is that much of a conversation. Jose thinks we really do need a legit third baseman. Yes, we do. Unfortunately, Bohm is not it. That is correct. I don't know where Bohm plays, and I know the first instant thought is he'll be your DH. 1, he's not that good of a hitter. 2, even though he should be better as a hitter. 1, he's not that good of a hitter. And 2, I've said this a billion times, it's 2021 in baseball. JT will be your DH. Rhys Hoskins will play DH. Bryce Harper will be a DH. All these players throughout your team will be a DH. You cannot just have Alec Bohm DH every single day. This is not 1996 anymore, where that was more of the idea and more of the concept. He can't play, and it's a problem. And the thing is, like we talk about players needing to make adjustments in the offseason, right? He's got to make adjustments in 2 major areas of his game, and not just little adjustments, real serious adjustments to his hitting at the plate and to his defense in the field. That's a lot of pressure and a lot of emphasis on a lot of different details and fundamentals. It could be extremely overwhelming. Just tweaking your at-bat is very overwhelming and could be stressful. Now think about the fact that you can't make any sort of plays. Like, to me, it's not even a question. He won't sniff third base next year. I really hope they don't try him there. I really hope they don't trot him back out there at third and say, well, the first year wasn't that bad defensively. It was bad. It was bad defensively. It just wasn't as bad as it was this season. But Alec Boehm was abysmal defensively the last 2 years. It's pretty clear and set in stone that nothing is going to change in that department. He cannot play the hot corner. His body frame doesn't allow for him to be versatile enough to make the plays that I see Ronald Torreyes play. And not only that I see Ronald Torreyes make. And not only that, he can't even make the simple ones. There's a ground ball where Alec Boehm doesn't even have to move, and he turns his glove over and it hits the top of his wrist. And then you can see him pout, shrug his shoulders as if he's playing in the Little League World Series for Hawaii or for New Jersey or PA in the regionals. It's his second year. I'm not saying he can't hit forever. He has what it takes to hit. But, I mean, dude, what type of power hitter is this atrocious? All he does is slap singles. All he does is slap singles. Ronald Torreyes has more impactful home runs than Alec Boehm does. I'm not overreacting. I'm telling you what I'm seeing, and I've seen it for a good chunk of time now. Now, with that said, I'm not claiming, Sacred Gaming, that he'll never be able to hit a baseball again. If I said that, oh, well, see, this is where you're absolutely wrong and you don't know a lot about baseball. He's not a power hitter? Then what's Alec Boehm? Alec Boehm shouldn't have power? What are we talking about? You're having a tough day at the office. You're having a tough day at the office today. What do you mean he's not a power hitter? Third baseman, Alec Boehm, 6'5". What is he, a singles hitter? What's he supposed to be, a slap guy the other way? Come on, look at him. Look at him and tell me he's not supposed to be a power hitter. Come on. Come on. That's bad. That's bad. I mean, come on. He's a contact hitter. Okay. You're right. That's the problem. That's why he stinks. That's why he stinks. Because he's a power hitter. He's a power hitter who's hitting singles. Terrible. I want to look at his college stats. Roman Quinn is more power. Oh, man. Classic pain. Classic pain. He had 16 dingers in 57 games in college with a 1.061 OPS, hitting .339. He had 11 ding-dongs in 58 games. So if you think about that over 162, and obviously it's different college baseball to the majors, but you got to keep in mind here that 57 games and 16 home runs is power. 57 games, 16 home runs, power. 58 games, 11 home runs, there's power. Power. Now, you're wrong. I mean, it's just that simple. You're wrong. You're wrong. He's not doing good enough. There's a reason why. Let's look at the details here. He's getting benched. He's not playing. It's not just because of the defense. Because you know who stunk at defense but could still play? Rhys Hoskins. Why? Because his offense overpowered the fact that he can't play defense very well. Didi Gregorius, albeit has turned his glove around a bit as of late, he was sloppy as can be. But why was he still in the lineup? Because he has lefty power that can smoke it to right field. It's pretty simple to see. Mickey Moniak is a certified bum, but we could have had Ian Anderson or Bo Bichette. I can't stand Mickey Moniak, although he did get that opportunity to get a pinch hit that game that Ian Kennedy got destroyed with the strike zone there in the ninth inning. What was that? Was that the last game against the Dodgers where they salvaged the series? He got a chance to come up to the plate, and I actually thought he was going to hit a bomb. It soared out to left field, but there was a play made right at the warning track. It was actually a nice cut and a nice swing, and he has been better as of late in the minors. But there's a big difference between having success in the majors, having success in the minors, and Mickey Moniak is just, it's a disaster. Mickey Moniak, Adam Hazley, Scott Kingery, all these players, and you can maybe start wondering what Alec Boehm's going to be about, because right now, I'd say disappointing. Once again, does not mean he can't turn it around, does not mean he's going to stink forever, does not mean that he'll be an embarrassment to the franchise like some of the other players are. But right now, we can admit that he's in that category until proven otherwise. Brodes, it's a heartbreaker for me as a Mets fan that we got swept by the Dodgers at home. We lost the first game against the Giants, but I think we are going to beat San Francisco in LA. Well, yeah, I mean that's tough. I mean that's called being a fan. That's called just being optimistic based off of wanting your team to succeed. And you would think at some point they'd win some games, right? I mean, they're not going to lose forever. At the same times, I guess you can go with the theory of the Mets are the Mets and the Mets will Mets because, that's definitely a thing as well. Nick Sirianni speaking. Love that. Always love a good Nick Sirianni speakage. We'll see what ends up happening today at practice. I'm looking forward to it. I've actually been really intrigued with what I've been hearing from Nick Sirianni and the fellas. So we'll see if there's much more that adds to the table today, just in terms of Eagles conversation and Eagles dialogue. No, Bryson Stott isn't ready yet. And you got to keep in mind you have Didi Gregorius for another year, and that's where he would be shortstop. So I want to look up how Bryson Stott's doing right now, just with his numbers. But yeah, no, you still got Didi at shortstop. And let's go to this season. He's hitting 271. He's got 13 home runs, 34 RBIs, 6 stolen bases with an 836 OPS. That's where he's at right now. Dude, we not only did we picked Moniak number 1 overall. Number 1 overall. There's so many others that you could have went with that direction. I get it. The MLB draft is literally, hey, you're just plucking. Really. You are. But there's a difference between doing that with the number 1 overall pick and the other way around, which would be pick 28, pick 32, pick 65 in the draft. And speaking of high picks, Alec Boehm, while the story is not written on him, you see India with the Cincinnati Reds, and he was picked 5th in the draft, while Alec Boehm was picked 3rd in the draft. And to put it in perspective, Jonathan India right now is giving you a 283 batting average, 16 dingers so far this year with 55 RBIs. Kid could play. Can play. Lifelong Braves fan here. Really enjoy your show. Should be exciting 6-week stretch coming up. Thank you so much, Bulldog. I really appreciate that. Yeah, you're right, though. It is going to be enjoyable. Well, to a degree, right? It'll be emotional at the same time. It'll be a combination of both. It'll be upsetting, disappointing, exciting, just filled with all sorts of different emotions. The Braves are playing good baseball right now. It feels right that the Braves are playing good baseball right now. I hate to say that. But I brought this up when I was at Xfinity, when I was at that Dodgers Salvage Series game. Yeah, that made sense in my brain. It would just feel right with the baseball world if the Braves won the division, because ultimately where we were to start the year, and they still are, like, I know that they're bouncing around with injuries this year, but just franchise-wise, compared to the Phillies, compared to the Mets, they're the most structured, but that doesn't mean the Phillies can't snag it from them and take themselves down a nice joyride in September, entering October, something we have not felt in quite some time. Ben Simmons still expects to be traded and has not personally been in close contact with Daryl Morey, Joel Embiid, and Doc Rivers this offseason. This is coming from Jake. I mean, is this new? Or is this something that you're saying has been, what is his name? Jake L. Fletcher is being reported as we speak. Jake L. Fletcher or Joke L. Fletcher? I'm confused. Oh, no, this is real or not. Jake L. Fisher. I can't see over there. The one monitor is a little. Here we go. Yeah, he did. I've seen him around before. Okay. Is this some? I don't see anything new though. I don't see as if this is recent news that just dropped. This is taken a while back. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it anywhere recent. So Looking forward to getting Reese back. He and Bryce are leaders, although with different styles. Yeah, for sure. Reese Hoskins is more he does it on the field too with his bombs and his doubles in the gap and his good swing. But he definitely brings a lot to the table vocally, while Bryce is that all-out guy who brings everything just in terms of energy to the field every single day. So they do it differently. There's a difference, though. If Gene Segura can hit 2, Bryce Harper can hit 3, Reese Hoskins can hit 4. That's such a deadly weapon, and it adds protection to Bryce Harper. You want to put Bryce Harper on? Fine. Here's Reese Hoskins. That's a big difference compared to what we have been seeing with Reese Hoskins out of the lineup. So I did see that he was traveling with the team. At least that was in the plans as of a couple of days ago. I'll search Reese Hoskins right now and see if he is being discussed. The Phillies left town bummed they slipped out of first place, but with Reese Hoskins due to return and a soft schedule, they're still sitting pretty for a stretch run. That's the latest headline from Marcus Hayes, but he's a columnist, so he does a lot of opinionated pieces. I'm just looking to see if there was maybe a tweet from some of the beat reporters. Reese Hoskins is expected to ramp up baseball activities on Tuesday. He won't be activated when eligible, but he will be back during this trip. That's from Destiny, who covers the Phillies for Phillies Nation, or she's the deputy editorial director for Phillies Nation. So there's your update. All right. I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me today here on Coffee with Brodes. I had a lot of fun. A lot of good passion came out this morning. So thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We got a late night game, right? It starts at 9:40, so there'll be a later show thinking about the Phils, and we'll see what happens with the Eagles for their training camp and their practices for discussions and whatnot. But thank you all so much for hanging out with me this morning. I will see you guys tomorrow morning on Coffee with Brodes.